Hello and welcome to today's special interview. Today we are honored to be here with a very special guest, Giuseppe Fornasari. Thank you for having us here in the beautiful Vicenza, and we can talk about the cars which you basically built your whole life, right?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
It's a true privilege to be here, and we just drive through the mountain roads, following you, driving your car you created. How it felt driving it here, like living here in this beautiful place and driving cars.
Well, you see, I'm old enough to be used to this, and it's always a nice feeling, but always very critical with the cars I built, so I can see more the faults than the good things. But it's good.
As you say, you start very early. When did you start? Like you grow up alongside cars and then you start making your cars.
Yes, I was growing in a world that my father was a racing driver. All his friends were racing at the time in the 50s, and so I grew up in this world. And I loved cars since I was a child, but this didn't mean that I was thinking about producing my cars one day. It was a long process, and it happened by chance, step by step.
So you raced as well. You were driving the cars before you start building them like racing driver.
Well, I was racing. I was a skier. I was racing motorbikes, off-road, cross country, and my father never allowed me to race cars because he was a driver, so he knew the story, the whole story. So when I was, when I was 14 and 15, I already was going around at night making stupid things with cars. I destroyed quite a lot of cars. And when I was from 18 on, I had a lot of friends that were famous driver in Formula One or in the rally championship, like Riccardo Patrese, Paolo Barilla, Franco Cunico, Tonino Tognana, big names in the racing. And I was practicing with them every night, but I couldn't race. So it took me years to start and to participate to my first competition. That was when I was 45 years old, and of course I was racing one of my cars, and so I raced for a few years.
So from what I just heard, you built the car and then raced it yourself.
Yes, as I said, one day I decided to drive my racing cars. Mainly because for me racing was a way to test the car, and sometimes you cannot rely on your racing drivers. If they're winning, they're good. If they're losing, the car is bad. So I said, okay, I can drive it. Let's see what is the real situation. I have to say, I raced in Italy. I raced in the World Championship, two-terrain, and I was on the top 5. In Italy, I was the fastest. So I can say I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And Fornasari itself, it's like an Italian brand. It's true Italian brand, started here in Italy. The cars are still here. You are designing them here, but it's based on an American cars. Can you tell us more about that? Like, what was the influence building it on? I know it's a Corvette, but to explain our viewers, what's the story behind this American connection to your cars?
When 1990, the Corvette were not imported officially in Europe. In 1990, I flew to New York and I went to test a Corvette. I never drove one before. And I was so surprised by the performance of the torque and the engine. So I decided to import a few Corvettes for myself. So we started for 3 cars. for me and my brothers and sisters. Then friends asked to buy other for them. And so I started importing this Corvette. Few years later, I started racing the Corvette. I joined Reeves Callaway, which was basically the official tuner of GM in the States. He made a new program and came back to the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1994. After 25 years of the absence of GM from the Le Mans. And so I was in the team. I decided to produce and to sell the Callaway in Europe. So I learned what was good about the Corvette. And I found out that, of course, America is a different world. And in America, you go straight and you go slow. Here in Europe, we go up and down from the mountains. We race every day to the limit of the brakes and the engine. So you need different setup, you need a different handling, you need different brakes. But the engine was good. The suspension were absolutely fantastic. For the Corvette, only they ruined the suspension, putting together the left and the right side of the suspension. So I understand that with a little adjustment, the car was perfect even for Europe. And I done this, and we won all the races we've done. We won the Italian Championship, GT Championship. So from this experience, I learned what was good from the American production and what was better in Europe. And when I decided to build my own car, I had my goal to achieve, and I chose the right parts and combined together.
So what was the change from racing the Corvettes and working with Corvettes to building your own car? What was that transition that you just have the idea to build your own car?
Well, you see, from 1990, I started driving Corvette. From 1994, my cars were having 450, 500 horsepower minimum. So, and every day I was going around with a two-seater car, very low to the ground, very uncomfortable, very fast. So one day I decided, well, that's it. I need a car for my family. I had a daughter. I was living in the hills. I love to go to the mountains, so I needed a car to be used every day, everywhere, and with 4 seats. So that's why I designed my car. It was a family car, able to go everywhere, with space for 4 or 5 people. But I wanted the same performance that I was used to with my GT. So that's why I designed this very fast SUV.
That's the thing, you were probably the first one who designed the performance SUV. Of course, it was unveiled several months before the first Porsche
A
Cayenne.
couple of years before.
Yeah, it was so tight, like with the Porsche, but you still were the first. You make like the first innovative thing. And my question following this is, this car was different. It was something what nobody seen before. Like how the public and other car enthusiasts seen it when you first developed this SUV.
Well, you see, at that time the world was divided in two, basically, before the Cayenne. There were the real off-roader, like Mitsubishi and all the others. There were the first, let's call SUV, like BMW and Mercedes ML, which
Yes.
were not able to go off-road very fast. And so I made a car that was more extreme in all the respects. More faster, it was the ability to go off-road was much better than all the others. And so under this condition, you can say we designed the very first real SUV in the world. Of course, this gave us a lot of visibility with the media and magazines. When we introduced it in Bologna in 2001, Our SUV was introduced as the fastest SUV in the world with 285 kilometers per hour as a top speed. So you can imagine the Cayenne, the standard Porsche was in front of us, and they didn't have the Cayenne. The Cayenne arrived 2 years later, and so a lot of talking arrived. But some people criticize the fact that why you have to do a family car that fast, why it has to be so expensive, why that much power, why 2 doors. So the people were not ready. Nowadays, after 20 years more, 25 years almost, we can say that the history said we were right.
Yes.
All the big brands have a fast SUV. But there's a big difference still existing between our project, our design, and the actual fast SUV, the weight. So one of the targets which I was looking for was to have a lightweight car, which makes a huge difference. Because let's say the Cayenne and our car, even if you can compare with the same power output, the Cayenne is 1,000 kilos heavier than our car. So forget about the suspension and all the other things which are different, the size, the dimension, but the weight is the most important part of it.
And can you tell us what was the secret to make it lighter than competitor?
Design as a racing car. Design using the right material, like a carbon fiber. With the color we made the first 100% carbon fiber car, 1995. There was a monocoque, carbon fiber monocoque, and of course a body, carbon fiber. So I learned 1994, 1995, we were learning how to use carbon fiber. Carbon fiber gives you total freedom in designing and producing parts and cars.
Yes.
The other part was to use a space frame chassis, making a special light steel.
Yes. For our viewers who are not familiar with this term, it's like a tubular chassis which contains all components, drivetrain, interior. You are connecting everything inside the chassis.
Yes, we use this space frame I designed personally. We glue it together with the body and the interior parts of the car. So if you glue together the carbon fiber and the steel chassis, the result is a car light and very strong.
Yes.
And very elastic. So that was and then of course we look for the right components, try to save weight, but we didn't spend too much time to go extreme to this. That was the idea of the project, the material we used, and of course I just wanted to have a car that the initial target was 1,500 kilos. We end up with 1,600 kilos. Yes. On the road. So it was a good. The other important thing is the weight balance, where to put the components, where to install the engine. So that made all the difference, together with the other most important parts, which was the design of the suspension. You have two different needs. One side, to be an off-roader, you need a long traveling suspension.
Yes.
To go fast on tarmac, you need a car lower to the ground. Without using an electronic system to change the height, yes. The height of the car, I was lucky enough to have SBM, the French company running. Yes. the official Mitsubishi the car that designed the suspension for me, and the design was so good that we could use the suspension even without a sway bar on the road, and the car was so fast on track. I don't give you the name of the competitors, but we tested the two cars, my car and another famous brand car, the Pirelli truck, and they made 65 laps. I made 3 laps, and I was 8 seconds faster than them. So just to give you an idea.
So what happened to this car? Was there multiple pieces or was it only one of one?
What do you mean?
Like the car itself, you revealed it on the Bologna Auto Show, this SUV,
Yes.
and you made multiple copies of the car, like
Yes.
it was a series production, right?
Well, you see, we introduced the car in 2001, and of course there were so many things to be changed and improved. And it took us almost 3 years to deliver the first car to the customer. That is something that many people don't think, most of the people don't think about. I want to produce a car, okay. You make the first prototype, then you have to develop it. For to go to the market, you can even sell the first one immediately, but then it takes you times to adjust all the details, homologate the car,
Yes.
test the cars in the different conditions. And so that is probably the most difficult part of the job.
Was it hard to make this like a road legal in the country with such strong competitors like Pagani, Ferrari, and all these big brands?
Well, Pagani and Ferrari, I know Orazio Pagani quite well. We met in the Middle East in 2004, 2005. We were sharing the same dealer in the area. And I have to say he has been very good. He's one of the 3 persons I consider they could make it successfully. Pagani, Koenigs, Rimac, but Rimac. Dallara, of course, but it's a different story. Dallara, he started in the 60s with the Ferrari.
Yes.
Completely. So these people are not, and this brand are not our competitors. Even if a Ferrari made the Puro Sangue, we designed a new SUV. I don't know whether I'll be able to produce it before to leave this place. But if I'll be able to make it, it will be completely different again.
Yes.
You know, 25 years ago, I could design this SUV because nobody was thinking about something similar. Today, everybody can say, oh, my SUV has 800 horsepower and this and that, it goes 300 kilometers per hour. So I'm not interested anymore in the power or in the top speed or these other things. What I want to do is do something that you can use every day and go like a crazy one if you like, and with the ability to go everywhere, of course. So that is I changed a little bit my goals.
Let's talk about the change itself in the design. Like 20 years ago when you were making the first SUV, there wasn't a computer-aided design and all these tools we are using today. I'm lucky to grow up in the world where everything is on the computer and I started 3D modeling from a young age. But from your point of perspective, what is the difference designing cars back then and today?
Well, these days was a long process. Of course, you needed people able to design, to draw the car. The car was drawn in 1-to-1 scale on big tables on the wall, and I still have all the original drawings, and that was fantastic, but also difficult because you couldn't make all the adjustment you can do now so quickly.
Yes.
So it took a month. It was a beautiful process because I remember the first model we made for the body was done in wood, and it took 6 months to make the first model. I was going every day in this workshop where they were cutting the woods,
Was it a
I could
complete?
smell it.
Was it a complete wood or was it a clay on top and
No, wood.
Only wood.
And of course a section of wood put together and we level it. It was fantastic, but it took 6 months. Nowadays you go from the 3D to machine tool, and in 2 days you have the model done.
Yeah.
And if you want to modify it, you can remake it in 2 days. So that is the beauty of the computer. We need to use the new technology. we are not losing anything, we are gaining. The possibility to rethink about everything that has been done.
So it's about using the technology which we have and implementing it to your process. That's
Yes,
right.
of course. I enjoy a lot the possibility that we are having now. Working with the 3D is very. It's beautiful. It's easy. Easy. You need people able to do. You know what I mean. But it's fantastic for me to be able to see the result, to see the drawing, the car turning, so you can evaluate from all the different angles. You can modify the next day. You say yes or no. You come back at the, you know. One time in the old times, I had to wait 6 months to see the final result, and then it was wrong. What do you do? So it's fantastic.
I remember when we were making this LM 3D model, I made something and then I sent it to Giovanni, and you sent it a video where you draw by hand, this shape should be like this. And I was looking at it from the orthographic perspective, and it's like very different for me as someone who grew up working with 3D first, because as an engineer I started with real parts, computer-aided design, and then went to designing like chassis and the bodywork, and after that sketching. So now seeing your sketches and you're describing the exact line and transferring it into the 3D model, it was, for me it was a challenge, but I think the car in the result looks perfect, because you know how it should look like even when you were drawing it on the paper.
Well, I try, but the most important part is to have somebody able to use the new technology, because otherwise I can try to explain everything. But it happened to me with a couple of people that simply could not transfer the curves in the 3D model. They couldn't see how to make it. And so the final result was not acceptable. So you always need somebody expert and knowing exactly how to make it, how to use it. So, but if you have these people around, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I was definitely happy to work on this concept with you, and I'm hoping that in the future, if there will be some task to be 3D modeled, we can do it.
Hope so.
We can do it together as well, because it's great to work with a brand with such a history, and right now being here in Italy and talking to you and seeing all these cars in reality, for me it's like I'm really honored to talk here with you right now.
Nothing.
So let's talk about the newer models. Let's talk about the Gigi. And I originally thought that first time I saw Gigi was the last year when we were working on the LM. But the fact is, you unveiled the car in the Genève Auto Show 2019, right?
No, it is not right. It is right that the final working car was suppose in 2019 in Geneva, but we introduced the one-to-one scale in Geneva in 2013, sorry. I designed the first Gigi 2011 November. We bring it to Geneva 2013, and then it took us a lot of years before to complete the car, for many reasons. So 2019, the car was in Geneva again, working in that case.
Why I mentioned that is that I thought it was the first time last year, but actually I was in the Geneva in 2019, and I was on the same floor as you, because I was looking on the old photos, and I don't have any photo of your car, but I have the photos of the Ginetta, which was right across.
Yes, that was in front of us.
And I was there for the Aston Martin at that time in their part, like the Formula cars and their prototypes. And I was thinking why I just walked past, because it's funny for me, because our path crossed 5 years later.
Yes.
And at that year there was an unveil of the Pininfarina Battista, the new Ferrari, I think it was F8, and there was a lot of big brands on the same floor as you.
Yes, of course.
And I know they are totally different than the Gigi. The Gigi is just unique. When you see the car, there's nothing like this. So would you say there's a specific style to designing your cars? Because you can see it all across your models. Like, is there something special for you? Like, when you are designing your car, would you say this is the way I make the design? Because nowadays, all these super sports look, let's say, quite the aggressive, blocky style. Like, it's the same style, and then there's a Gigi which is completely different.
Yeah, of course. I have to tell you a few things. First of all, if you make an hypercar like everybody's making now, you design it. It has to be aggressive. It has to be looking like a racing car. You claim that is the fastest car in the world, the fastest car at Nürburgring, and maybe it's true, until after 1 month there will be another fastest car. So I didn't want to make it something like that. I remember with the sledgehammer in 1995, a sledgehammer done by Callaway, we settled the world speed record for stock cars, production car, with a 405 kilometers per hour. So that was 1994. So for me, the top speed is nothing. I want a car to be drivable, handling weather better than the others, and be usable every day. So that is a factor. The first reason why I don't want to make an aggressive hypercar. I will make my hypercar, but it will be the next SUV. I want to have the sound of an hypercar. I want to have the sound of Formula One, but on a car that you're using with the family eventually. Yes. Second, talking about the shape, yes, I have my idea. From my father, who designed this house, by the way, I learned that the shape and the proportion of the volume are the most important. The proportion of the volume. One of the things that all the journalists were telling me, taking pictures of the SUV in the early times, was that they couldn't understand about the size of the car until they saw it in person, live. Because the proportion of the volumes was hiding the real size of the car, because the proportion was good.
Yes.
And the other point in the way I try to design a car is to use smooth lines. The Gigi is an example. The Gigi is starting from a car, from the Maserati Zagato that my father was driving back in the 50s. I designed the car 2011. Today, the car is still unique. Yes. Sometimes people on the road ask me how many years has the car, because they think it is an old car, classic car.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, and in 10 years' time will be as beautiful as it is.
Like a timeless design.
Yes, so it's a timeless. If you use that shape and that curves and that proportion, the shape of the car will last forever. Few months ago, I was on the road with one of the 600 we made in 2004. And so 20 years ago.
Yes.
And with the car on the road, all the people were saying, "Oh, that's beautiful. Looks like a new one." Because the shape we designed 20 years ago, 25 years ago, is still up to date now. If you're making a very extreme design, very aggressive, a very angular design, probably in 5 years' time you have to remake it, or you have to revise it, because it's cyclic.
Yes.
Every 5 years, 10 years, the taste of the people will go back, or we go forward to something different. So the way I design the car is mainly I design the volumes. I start from the function of the car, of the object, and then I work on the volumes, and then I try to make it smooth, and that's it. I'm not saying all of my cars are nice.
Yes.
Some of the cars I made I hate, but you know.
That's basically for every designer. Like he always know I would do it the second time better.
Well, I was watching a few days ago an interview to Marcello Gandini, who designed the
Yes.
Lamborghini Miura. He was criticizing his Miura. He said, "I cannot see it. It's too narrow. The tires are wrong." And he was right. But how can you criticize something, a kind of masterpiece like this?
Yeah.
But the same is happening to me. And when we introduced the first SUV in Bologna, it was the first car, and I was happy about it. But I couldn't watch it. I hated this bonnet, that bonnet. But we had to make it like that because after 6 months to make the wood-made molds,
Yes.
I cannot modify it quickly. So you see, that's the technology.
That's great. So let's talk about these updates as well. Let's take a look on the manufacturing. I think it's very similar, but the prototyping phase is much faster, as you said, because you can 3D print and then you can lay the carbon on top of it instead of making wooden models. But are there any other differences you would mention in the manufacturing over the years?
Material, technology, computerized. The first 3D parts I had with 3D printed was given to me by Lee Iacocca, president of Chrysler, who showed me 2000 in 2000, November 2000. I was in Modena with Alejandro De Tomaso, a couple of others people from Argentina, and Lee Iacocca, who was he came to Modena to visit his old friends, and he gave me these parts he made with the 3D printing. A part that was not possible to be built with
Yes,
a normal,
exactly.
and I still have it in my house. So from 2000 until now, the technology has improved, but not that much. You can use all this new technology, but the most important part, I think, is computerized, and composite material.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
using composite material make it possible, easy, and cheaper to make a body, and gives you total freedom in choosing the shape
Yes.
and saving weight and saving time and modifying all the parts. So that was the big difference. And you can consider that the carbon fiber has been used starting from the 94, 95, even Orazio Pagani,
Yes.
he made his study, and the difference in the things he made were basically using a carbon fiber. Because for the rest of the car, you can like the shape or not, of course, but after that the car was a normal car with a big engine.
Yes.
Just he used carbon fiber.
Okay, now let's talk about drivetrain. You still use the combustion engine, but nowadays there's a big trend toward the hybridization and electrification. Do you think about using something like this for your car, or what's your opinion?
Well, again, you were not in Geneva 2008, I guess, because we introduced the first Fornasari full electric.
It was full.
2008.
I was 9 years old, so.
So that's to say that we always are looking around, thinking about the new technology and so on. 2008, we introduced the Fornasari SUV in Ginevra with the 600 horsepower, battery, whatever, 2 engines. We never produced the working car. for many reasons. Italy gives us funds to make the project, then they never release the money, so, but saying that, I'm very critical towards electric vehicle. We are 2025, and still we are talking about going full electric, and basically less than 4% of the cars sold every year in the world are electric. So, and there are so many wrong things about producing electric vehicles. Just the people and politicians, they don't want to talk about it, but it's not going green, making an electric vehicle. It's moving the problem from one side to the other.
And also the thing is, nowadays the combustion engine is so advanced that we are at the peak of this technology and we just want to cut it and replace it with something else.
Well, you see, talking about endothermic engine, so the way we produce the car until now, and we are still producing, means not only how I make a car, but it's a complete system, production system, suppliers, company, workers, services around the world. So it's a huge system you want to change in few years. You might change it in 50 years, maybe, if it's necessary. I don't believe it. But if you try to change it in 10 years, you end up with the disasters. Of course, China has a different position for many reasons. But 2014, Chinese people wanted to buy our cars, numbers. So after that, the Chinese government changed the direction and gave plenty of money to everybody. So, and they bought all the mines, and then they have the source of the material they need. So there are many reasons why. But it's not a natural system. It's a forced situation. And in Europe and in the States, we're going to pay for this if we are following it. As I said, I don't believe in an full electric vehicle right now for everybody. For some part of the population, yes. I don't like electric vehicle, even if they are fast, extremely fast. Maybe there's no comparison with the other vehicle, but they're boring. They have a lot of problems. They are risky, firing with an electric vehicle. Have an electric vehicle in your box in the house. You end up having your house burned down. I don't like it. And then it can explode, it can kill people. So many problems. Saying that, hybrid is a nonsense. Sorry about that. But hybrid is just a bureaucratic situation where the brands have to make hybrid vehicles, otherwise they will have to pay big ticket. But hybrid doesn't add too much to the performance of the cars. In many situations, hybrid cars are consumption is even higher than the normal car. It costs more to make it. It's more complicated. You have more components that can break. So why? I like to make a car light. So going hybrid, there's no questions. I like a hydrogen situation. Endothermic engine using hydrogen instead of
it's
fuel.
Still combustion, but it's in hydrogen. It's not like a power cell producing the electricity.
That's the way to go for many reasons. And to go hydrogen is useful for the shipping, for the trains system, for the transport on road, talking about trucks, for many other reasons. And hydrogen, we can organize to get it in quantity, and we have the system to transport the hydrogen. There are some difficulties to be solved, like these hydrogen service stations. They have problems with the cold temperatures. You need But apart from that, and I can see, well, recently Ferrari show an hydrogen engine. Toyota is working on this for
Many decades, yes.
many decades in many directions. Honda, of course, BMW was making hydrogen cars back in the 90s. So that is the way I would like to go. I have friends that are they already made this V8 hydrogen engine in the States, and they're thinking about going to production 2026. So that is my goal. For the rest, I agree with the Pagani, with the Ferrari, with others. In our world, talking about high-performance vehicle, cars that might cost $500,000, $1 million, or a few millions dollars. Nobody is asking for electric vehicle. Matt Rimac, who made a wonderful car.
He mentioned it a few months back that
he said, I'm not going to make any others. So, more than this, what can we say? I like to have a nice noise on my car, even if it doesn't work. I tell you something funny. When we made the first racing car, the first Fornasari, we, instead of using the V8 for rule for question connected to the rules and minimum weight and so on, we decided to use a 6-cylinder M3 engine, BMW engine. And the sound of that engine with the special manifold we made was absolutely fantastic. It looked like a Formula One. And the night before the first race in Greece, I was testing the car, and the sound was incredible, but the car was not going at all. And an old Fiat 127, drawn by an old guy, was overtaking us, So I said, okay, that's it. But the sound was everything. And the morning after, we weren't the fastest in the race, but we were the more exciting car in the race because the sound. So I want the sound.
And would you tell the hydrogen combustion engine gives you the same sound and same feeling like
Yes,
classic?
of course.
Yes.
You work on the exhaust system, but the engine is the same. The difference between a fuel engine and a hydrogen engine is only the way you design some components, but the engine is the same.
So perfect. In the future, we can look forward for your cars still making the sound and still looking great. So tell us, what is the future of Fornasari? What is like your vision for the next year, and what cars are in the plan, if you can talk about them?
The future of Fornasari is not myself. Future is Giovanni, because I'm too old. I design and I thought about the next couple of cars. If I will be able to produce this, that will be more than enough for the next 10, 15 years. And that will be a lot of fun. As I told you, we were in the position 2014, 2015 to really end up with an important company. Talking about a company producing 2,000-3,000 cars per year. So something that was worth it more than Maserati. We couldn't make it for many reasons, but the space is still there. I'm not looking about selling 1,000 cars per year. So if you sell 50 or 100 cars per year, you're still noticeable worldwide, because those cars will go to the key people and will be very noticeable every time you go on the road, as you could see maybe today.
We seen today driving around. Everyone was looking at the car and stopping by and waving it. It was wonderful.
Yes, and the Gigi is a car that you drive in style without showing off. So the next car I meant it to produce is going to be an extreme car that will be definitely something different. So, but that is the idea. If I will be able to make the new prototype and to organize for a production, which was basically what we have been lucky in the past, the production. Then it will be enough for me and will be interesting for Giovanni for the future. Otherwise, I don't know. Probably what we are looking for is a partnership with some companies, because the new rules, the bureaucracy, are becoming every day more difficult. So you need a partnership.
Yes.
The way we were making cars 30 years ago is not possible anymore. You need much more electronic, you need much more controls, which in a case is nonsense, but what can I say, they're asking for it. So you have to provide.
Perfect. I thank you for this view of your company and the future which is ahead of us. I'm sure everyone is looking forward what you will create next. And I thank you for having us here in beautiful Vicenza and having the chat with you. It was wonderful to talk with you as a designer who already make these cars for, I know it's half a century, right?
Yes, more or less. Thank you for coming.
And thank you all for watching. If you want to know more about Fornasari, the link for their webpage will be in the description. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe for the next one. Grazie and arrivederci.